Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Movie Mayhem. I'm joined by my co-host Chase, Morgan Hewlett. Chase, how are you doing this evening?
Good. How are you?
Not too bad. It's
My
been
dog.
about 2 weeks. Say what?
I was like, my dog said hello too because she
Oh,
barked when you started talking. But
hey, animals are always loud on the program.
we all say hello over here.
So, Chase, I hear you have a movie collection that you want to. Well, people have been updated, or you've been updating people on this program about the movie collection, specifically the steel books that you've been collecting. So, I'm interested to see what you have here today.
Yes, I have been collecting movies, of course. Physical media is something that I love, and though most of the time they just sit on the shelf, it's cool to have them because you never know what happened. I don't know if anyone actually cares, but I'm just gonna update you anyway. These that I'm going to show you are three. They're actually my wonderful lady's movies. We saw them, she bought them, so they're technically hers. But I'm involving them in just the collection in general because we're going to be married and we live in the same house. So why not? But they're hers. First one, Beetlejuice. You can see that. Steelbook. These are all Steelbook, by the way. So yeah, she's a big Halloween fan. So with the new one coming out, the Walmart released this one that you can't find anywhere but Walmart. Unless you find it on Amazon from a third party that's selling it for triple the amount. So yeah, these are at Walmart right now. They look freaking cool. I like steelbooks. It's kind of a unique art. Unless the steelbook is literally just a like regular movie poster, I always think that's kind of dumb. But this one's a unique art. I think it's really cool. Has the beetle in the background. If you've ever seen Beetlejuice, it's a classic. I can't wait for the new one to come out. And yeah, so that's the first one. And these next two, I think you're going to appreciate because we have another podcast. First one is Dracula. You can see that. The old Dracula, 1931. I love the artwork. It's so cool. But yeah, so old horror, as we have actually done a review on this film on the Golden Review. And I don't think either of us liked the movie. But the artwork is really cool. And then the next one is Frankenstein. We actually did this one as well, which comparing the two, I like Frankenstein better. But um, it's interesting because I don't know. That's just cool artwork. That's what these are all about. Is like kind of the artwork. So yeah, that's the up. That is updated movie list that I have. Obviously, I will do more because obviously more are gonna go on the shelf. I'm starting to run out of room. Like they keep going up, and my other stuff on my bookshelf, I keep running out of room. There's gonna be a point where it's like, okay, I need to get another shelf specifically for the collection.
Well, plus as we get closer to Thanksgiving, and you got Black Friday and Cyber Monday. More of these, I'm sure more of these movies will be added to your collection as well. I'm sure there
Yeah.
is a whole list in which the Chase Morgan Hewlett list, I would like to see it checked off because I'm sure there's a whole bunch on there.
Yes. God bless my wallet.
So, Chase, do you want to talk a little bit about Borderlands? The audience, I did not get a chance to see the film, so I'm strictly relying on Chase to talk about this film. I had heard Chase, it was not perceived very well. And typically, I kind of got that feeling because me and the girlfriend were actually going to go this evening to see it. And it's only been out for 3 weeks now at the time of this recording. And it's already out of the AMC here in Bloomsburg. So that typically is, if that has any measurement of how well this film's doing, not very well.
No, it was absolutely terrible. It just wasn't that great. IMDb rated it 4.3 out of 10. That's pretty low. That's not Madam Web low, but that's pretty low. Um, I don't. I played the video game with a friend when it first came out, back on the Xbox 360, which aged myself a little bit. Um, but I played the game a little bit, but I didn't know the world. I didn't know really anything about it, so it's like, okay, I don't know what's going on. They do kind of explain it, but I think if you're a fan of the game or you've played the game repetitive, like um, played the game a lot, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I think you would understand the world. But I think that if you're a big fan of the game, you're gonna hate the movie more than I did because I don't know much of the world. I gave it a 4 out of 10. I thought it wasn't that great. I mean, there was some cool action scenes. I think the only thing that I actually really enjoyed about the film is the costume design and the dressing. Like they made the world look cool and the set dressing was cool and all that, but it was just a film that needed to be a TV series because you need to explain the world. Like Fallout, Last of Us, you need to kind of explain the world. When you have a whole new world, you're going to have dull moments because that's just how it is in the world. Describing stuff is not always action packed. Like even episodes of like the new Star Wars series, like Mandalorian, there's just some episodes that don't have a lot of action, but that's because they're building the world. In this film, it just it was a movie. It was not even 2 hours long. I think it's like an hour and 45 minutes long. Yeah, exactly. So it's you just don't get time to learn what's going on, and it's really bad writing. They try to be funny. They try to bring humor into it. They try to bring seriousness into it, and I'm just not really sold on the characters. I don't really care about the characters. And the one character I thought I'd actually care about, I didn't even really care about at the end, which was the robot. I thought he was going to be really funny, and it was Jack Black. So you're like, okay, this is going to be pretty humorous, but it was just annoying. Like, it's just like, okay, cool.
From the trailers, it felt like we had already seen this movie before with Jumanji, the remake at least. That's why it kind of had that vibe of. Now, obviously, it's different, the costumes, the wardrobe, the sci-fi realm. But when you have a Kevin Hart film, and this isn't to say that Kevin Hart typically plays in certain roles, even though he has a history of playing in certain roles.
Yeah.
There was part of me that didn't want to see it anyway, but I was going for the girlfriend. It would have been interesting to get my opinion on this because I went into the Uncharted film, 2 years ago, I guess I would have came out. Never played the games, but I actually fairly enjoyed it. It wasn't a great film. It wasn't a bad film. It was kind of in the middle. So from somebody that never played the games, I was actually looking forward to seeing this film from that perspective. I feel like I could have added a little bit to the conversation, but overall, I did hear a lot of bad things about it. Chase, did the CGI sell you at all on this film? Because the other films that we're going to be talking about here tonight, we're going to be talking about CGI a little bit, and we're going to be talking about did it draw you into the world?
Now, it's been a few weeks since I've seen it, but from what I remember, for the most part, and there might be something specific that someone that's watching this review of it might say, hey, what about this scene? But for the most part, from what I'm thinking of right now, it actually wasn't that bad. I think they had some fun action. Like, in the trailer, there's that car chase, and he, goes into the monster's mouth. That's really cool. And it's, cool. Seeing it on the big screen. Any action in the big screen is going to be cool. The set dressing looked really cool, and the colors looked really cool. But there's more to film than just the visual effects or the prop dressing. There's just so many elements in a film, and to have the perfect film is all the elements meet up perfect. That's why, in my opinion, there's only a select few films that are labeled, I'll say, perfect. It's really hard to get that, but if you can get that point, that's really cool. But yeah, this film had some of those beautiful moments, but the CGI didn't seem too bad, to be honest with you. I think maybe the ending, which I don't want to spoil it, maybe the big turning point in the film. I think maybe that could be the one thing I could say that the CGI is bad. But other than that, everyone looked pretty cool. I know I've said that 1,000 times, but that's really my review. There's nothing much to say about the film. You needed way more, and if you're gonna make a show or an adaptation about a video game, make it a series. They should just write it in stone. You have to make it a series. If you're gonna create a whole new world, you cannot do it in under 2 hours. You just cannot.
Yeah, and who would you trust with a series like that? I don't remember the company that actually produced this film, Borderlands, but would you, obviously I feel like the trust in Disney right now is so low, maybe you give a Netflix adaptation of Borderlands, because of One Piece and all the other stuff they got going for it, I guess they've had a better repertoire lately.
This is a Lionsgate film.
Lionsgate.
I was just looking. And Lionsgate isn't really doing that well. They just haven't done well in a while, so... and this is Eli Roth, which if you know Eli Roth, he's in Inglourious Basterds, and he usually films horror movies, so this is an odd movie, to be honest. But what was your question? Oh, who would you trust? Thank you. The last company that I watched a show like adaptation of a video game was Fallout. So Catalina and I watched Fallout, all 8 episodes, and that was really good. You had enough time to learn about the world. You had enough time to just care about the character. It's like 8 to 10 episodes, and you care about these characters. Even the guy who's the bad guy, you care about him because you meet him before the bomb went off and all that. Which I could talk all this whole hour about Fallout, but it brought you into the world, introduced you to it, introduced you to the people, and then introduced you what happened to the world, and then it showed kind of the elements afterwards, and it was really good. I just loved it. But this one, it could have had that potential if it did that. 8 to 10 episodes, I think it could have been really good actually, because it looked cool. It just the story, the characters, the writing. These are important things in a film, and they just kind of fell through the cracks. So, 4 to 10 for me. I'd watch it if I were you. If you want, just know it's not that great.
All right. Well, recommendation for video on demand. Maybe if it's one of those situations where you get to rent it, maybe you get the Amazon Prime points back, and you get the $2 off your. Because this is one thing I've been loving, Chase, and I know this is like, I don't know, people pay attention to it, but when you order like say two things on Amazon, if they're coming at different days, you can get like that $2 off your digital credit stuff. I've been using that a lot lately to actually buy things on Amazon Prime. So
I've never bought a movie on Amazon Prime. If I'm gonna buy a movie, it's gonna be physically in my hand. I've never done it on Amazon. I know you have. I just haven't done that. So
I
I
mean,
haven't.
it is smarter to get now. Granted, there's other things that could go wrong, like say your DVD player breaks, or say the disc breaks, and you have to go buy the disc and stuff like that. Digital is one of those situations where like, oh, you think you have it forever, then like the company shuts down, or like the server breaks or something. Then you're in trouble as well. But no, I've been using a lot of my Amazon Prime purchase points on buying movies on Prime, or renting too, because it goes for the renting option. That's not always bad either. You're looking for a good like night to just chillax and sit down and rent something. Use the Amazon Prime points. Anyways, that was not a paid advertisement or a pitch, by the way, but
I had this glitch on Amazon once. So we rented a movie. It was like $3.99. And when you rent a movie, it says you have like 48 hours to like watch it or whatever. Well, it had said 400 hours. Like seriously, it had this glitch. So I was like, I have 400 hours to watch this movie. Then I thought, what is 400 hours? I don't know, but that's a long time. We can Google it really.
I'm actually going to do the mathematic equation. All right, so that is just over 16, almost 17 days worth. You have a chance to watch that film.
I did, but I watched it that night, so it wasn't that big deal. But I was like, almost. I wonder if it will last that long. But just wait all month to watch it. But yeah, that's my review in Borderlands.
And a film that just recently came to streaming on demand is Twisters. Twisters, of course, being like a month old in the box office. I don't think it had a great theatrical box office run. I think it obviously did make money in the end. We talked about CGI. The nature effects anymore that they have are state of the art. I absolutely love nature effects. Sometimes they get a little bit wonky with like the superheroes. We talked about the Deadpool Wolverine fight scene. Sometimes people looking animated doesn't always look the best. But the weather environments for Twisters, I did love the CGI. Chase, I'm interested to hear your take on Twisters. You and me both saw that film. I do have to say, everybody asked me, was it a direct, because we went like open night, was it a direct sequel to Twister? The question becomes, it kind of is like it's almost like a Top Gun Maverick per se, where you don't need to watch the first one. They give you enough reference of the second one, or like it's meant to be a standalone that you can go back and enjoy the original. So is it really a follow-up? I don't think there was any characters that were named from the original. There was one little device that was like, oh, they used in the original to measure the tornadoes. But other than that, there was really not too many major callbacks. So I say everybody, it's like a standalone. You don't got to watch it. But I fairly enjoyed it. Chase, what was your take?
I loved it. I gave it a 9 out of 10 because I liked it a lot more than I thought. So I was home that day and my lady was sick. So we watched Twister. And I grew up with Twister. My mom loves disaster movies. I don't know why she just finds those movies so much fun. She's like, I just like watching the world fall apart. I'm like, cool. So we watched Twister, and it brought up back some childhood memories, especially the scene with they're like food, like they want food. Anyway, uh, and so right after we watched it, I was like, I want to go see Twisters, and my lady's like, okay, I'm gonna just go to bed. So I went to the theater and watched it alone, but I really liked it. I thought the CGI was really good. It's kind of cool to see they're so advanced now with visual effects, unlike the 1990s, that it's so cool to just see it now. Like they actually can make it look very authentic, really real. Going through that nuclear plant, just flames and everything. It was really cool. And I didn't hate any characters. Like there were no characters that just I shouldn't say hate. I guess there were some characters that were annoying, but I liked everyone. You know, everyone did a really good job. Glenn Powell looked really good. The thing that I thought they'd like really drag out is his scene when he's in like outside and it's pouring down rain. He's in a white cowboy hat with a white shirt. That was like 5 seconds. Like I think it's longer in the trailer than in the actual film. Like I was like I thought this would be like this big moment like the Notebook where she doesn't want him to leave and he's just soaking wet. It's a wet t-shirt contest for him and all that, and they didn't drag that out, and I was like, huh, how many women were disappointed that that was not drug out?
Well, I scrolling through TikTok, I've seen all of them at least that they jump cut. Like, it's like I'm going to see the plot of Twister's the plot, and they just show a picture of Glenn Powell in that specific scene. Which, you know what, great movie advertisement. I hope it's almost like theater accounts that are just like, hey, we're just gonna hype up the anticipation for this film and just post those TikToks, because I was like, okay, it's a fun paid advertisement. It's kind of like the Barbenheimer effect. Because when Barbie and Oppenheimer were coming out that summer, I can remember where social media went hard at like kind of pandering to both sides of the aisle, and I thought that was a pretty cool thing that Twisters did as well. Also, with Anybody But You, they did the same thing, so it's pretty cool. And I actually just watched Anybody But You again tonight. I still think it's a great chick flick, but you be the judge of that when you get a chance to see it.
They call those thirst traps, by the way. Thirst trap.
Thirst trap.
I learned that. I didn't have that knowledge. Someone told me that knowledge, and then that's what I spoke. Just so you know.
Well, a lot of people, because getting back to the point with like Glenn Powell getting all soaking wet with a white t-shirt contest, I think a lot of people anticipated like a heavier, kind of like a intimate love relationship between our two main characters, and that actually never transpired. There was actually no kisses at all in this film, which kind of shocks you, because you think even the original Twisters there was like a love interest, which clearly there was like they liked each other, but like it was never like it never came to that romantic point. So
well, in the original, they were getting divorced, and he came to have her sign the papers, and she wouldn't, and then they fell in love. It was kind of like, okay, what's going to happen here. But this one, I like the love interest thing better, like them being rivals and then teaming together. Because you usually be like, all right, they're going to be rivals, but they're going to like each other, but because they're just going to be stuck in a situation. But they came together to help each other out. And it turned out that the company that she was originally helping was actually just mooching off people who lost everything. So I liked how that was cool. I liked that it didn't just follow the regular mainstream way of having these two people that are against each other fall in love. I just liked how they did that little twist in Twisters, and I don't know, it made it. I think it flowed really well. I really liked the movie. I would buy it. That's how much I liked it. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, I gave it an 8 out of 10, which is still a really great score in my books. Had a lot of fun with it. Like I said, brought back a lot of like a Top Gun Maverick feel. It's brought back a lot of like memories, like it brought back an Oppenheimer. I just talked about that. It's something where you sit in a theater, you're just overjoyed by everything going on in front of you, and it not only is it visually pleasing, but also it has a plot in which keeps you entertained the whole time. There was some stuff like, okay, this probably wouldn't happen in reality, but you're gonna have that with all the science fiction type films. And it's like, okay, well, that's fine, but it really keeps your attention the whole time. I loved it. I recommend it to people. A film that I also love, Chase, and we're going into this now. I guess I'll give my end first. Being a while since I've seen the Alien movies. Alien Romulus, because I just saw it now. Granted, I was a week behind, so I had to stay off the internet for all the spoilers and all this stuff. And it gave me a chance to recap a little bit of all the Alien movies all the way through Prometheus, which, believe it or not, Prometheus was the first Alien movie I was ever introduced to, which is a problem, by the way, because Prometheus was
That is a
not, which was not a good film. But there was a tie-in to Prometheus, actually, in this film, which, if I didn't watch Prometheus, I'd be like, okay, well, that's fascinating. But Chase, I did love this film. I'm gonna say this right now. We're gonna open spoiler talk anything we want to talk about here. So, if you see if you're listening to us via audio, tune out right now, come back afterwards at this mark. If not, if you're watching video, you'll see it pop up at the bottom of the screen that says spoiler alert, and we're going to be talking about it. There you go, Chase. I love the sound effect. We're just going to keep that for now on. So, Chase, I really did love this film. I know it didn't sit well with some people that are hardcore of the lore. I'm not hardcore of the lore. I just watch the films casually in passing, but it took you on I do got to say, whenever you're in space, and this is something I wish Star Wars would do. Rogue One kind of did a little bit, but when you're in space and it's an epic, I like the moments of space sounds, like silence with a little bit of eerie. And it keeps you on the edge of your seat just enough. And this film, I swear, kept me on the edge of my seat the whole 2 hours. And that's something I can appreciate, because you don't know where the next creature, the next alien is coming from. And that was something fun. Now, the last 30 minutes we'll get into later on down the road here when we talk about this, I did not enjoy whatsoever, but I don't think it takes away from the whole experience and the whole film.
So I have some friends that went to see it and they did not like it because of the last 30 minutes, which I disagree with why they don't like it. I loved it. I seen it twice in theaters. So I saw it by myself, and then I saw it with my mother, because I was like, all right, Mom, you have two options, Twisters or Alien. She's like, Alien. And I was like, I love you. Like, that's the right answer. But I just wanted to ask. I loved it. I thought it was really good. It is, I saw one of the reviews was it's the Rogue One of the Alien franchise. And I was like, that's cool. That's a cool review. Because if you don't know, this is between Alien and Aliens. So this is between 1 and 2 of the original. And you could tell that the director, I can't pronounce his name, so I'm not even going to try. But the director actually cared about the franchise. Like the sound effects, the visuals, everything about it, I just thought was really good. The writing was good. It wasn't like they were trying to write bad characters. You know, like horror movies tend to purposely write bad characters so you don't like them, so you can wait for them to die. Like all the characters, like they were pretty authentic. They were the original. Like obviously there was a guy who was kind of douchey, and there was like the good tough guy, and the Glenn Powell of the movie, and whatnot. But I loved it. I thought it was so good. It was so cool to see the alien again. It was so cool to see. I'm gonna butcher the name, but those crawly things that hook on your face. All of the visual effects were really good. My friend said that he didn't like how those things walked, and like one of the reviews for him is that it just made him uncomfortable. And like the last 30 minutes made you uncomfortable. But that's what Alien is. This is not supposed to be a comfortable film. You're not supposed to be in a Snuggie eating ice cream and being all comfortable and like whatever. It's supposed to keep you on edge and be like you're gonna say ill at least 3 times in the movie. Like that's just what these movies are. It's like it's sci-fi horror. It's not supposed to be pleasant, and that's what I liked about it is that it was not pleasant, and it did keep you on the edge of your seat, especially that last 30 minutes, which I didn't compare this thing to Prometheus at all. I know you mentioned it. I know other people mentioned it, but I didn't, only because like she was pregnant, so the thing is going to attach to the baby, take over it, and it's going to look kind of human form. The thing that's unsettling is that wasn't CGI. That was an actual person. Like they just put him in, like they just did makeup on him and whatnot. And that's like practical effects, which I think is so cool that they brought that back rather than just CGIing. Now they did CGI for a little bit of it, like when he like grabbed onto her helmet and whatnot, but for when he's like walking up to her or crawling, like that's him. And then that's quite terrifying. So
Well, what was cool about it, and I didn't know this, I just assumed that all these science fiction films right now are visual effects CGI. It wasn't until 2 days ago when I saw the behind the scenes. They had posted something like one of the fan channels had posted about the little centipod type things. I don't know the names of them per se, but the centipede looking things that just attach themselves to people. They
Yeah.
were remote control in the background, and I didn't
Oh,
realize
that's cool.
that. So, but what was crazy then is people, again, I watched the film. I didn't have an issue with it. I thought they were creepy. I didn't care how they ran. I was like, well, they're not going to run like normal animals because they're crustacean stuff. I was like, okay, makes sense. But I didn't have an issue with it. But in the comments, it just bombarded with like, oh, that's why it looks so bad walking. It was like, boy, I did not catch that at all from the film, my first watch. I was just like, I thought those creatures were pretty cool, pretty scary, kind of creepy. And specifically when they're swimming in the water, like, everybody's like, oh, it's a Star Wars moment where they're in the trash compactor and there's something in the water. But I was like, they did a really good job with that scene. And that scene was early, too. Like, I expected that to be like closer to middle to end when that scene and people started to get picked off. And when I went with my buddy Josh to go watch this film, I was trying to tell him, I was like, I think it's going to be a slow burn because I was like, from the beginning of this film to about the middle, I thought they were going to start like the world building because it's been a while since we've been in the alien universe. I thought they were going to do world build. But as soon as they left to go to that hovering spacecraft that was going to crash into their planet and they needed the pods to escape, boy, did that thing start taking off pretty quickly. And I
Hmm.
was kind of surprised because I thought there would be like a slow rise to a climax, a very high climax, and then like drop off, maybe a cliffhanger ending or something. But this had a high climax, never really came down for like an hour.
Yeah. No, it was really great. And as a filmmaker myself, the sound effects in this film, I sat in the perfect seat, which is either in row G or row H. Like those are the two rows you want to be in. I sat in the very perfect spot. So when I first went to see it, the sound effects were just gorgeous. It sounded so good. Like I had goosebumps the entire film because it sounded so good. And that's just me being a film nerd. But another thing I did like, and this is kind of going back to like characters in horror movies, is in this movie, it seemed like no one did a stupid move. And when I say that, I mean like, when you hear a noise in the attic and they always walk up like, is someone there? And you're like, don't do that, you're gonna die. Like in this movie, no one did that type of stupid move. Like obviously it was stupid to go up into that ship, but it made sense why they were doing that. Like they just want to get out of there. They want to go somewhere where the sun is. But no one did something stupid. Like I didn't sit there and be like, well, you're gonna die because you're a dumbass. Sorry.
It's okay. My only critique about this, now you could say like the putting the programmer chip back into the cyborg robot, like, okay, you should have known that there's going to be repercussions over that, or they're probably going to try to protect whatever. Like, it might even be as simple as, hey, it's going to go into freak out mode because, like, it'll probably be from the moment they were being attacked before the guy was killed on the floor. I thought maybe it'd be straight to, like, that, like a chaotic, like, kind of cyborg. But one of the things that I picked apart, and it wasn't, again, it's not a big pick. I'm just wondering why, like, when they had to walk through the room, a really cool scene where they had to keep their body temperature regulated and be very silent
Oh yeah.
walking through there. But what I didn't understand, okay, because they take a flare. He apparently had flares, by the way, but he took a
Yeah.
flare at the end and just threw it, and it attacked the higher heat signature. So it wasn't about a low drop or a high drop because it clearly went after the higher heat. I don't know why they set the room to 98.6 normal body temperature and just didn't set it to like, I don't know, 102. Like to me, I was like, give yourself some room to play around with people. Instead, he just like, we're going to keep it the
Yeah.
exact same. Like that was my only pet peeve over it. I'm like, well, this should have been otherwise. But for all sake of the plot, I found nothing wrong with it. And I was like, makes it suspenseful.
The one thing that did bother me when I first watched it was the original what's his name? I'm gonna look it up. Rook, the original I'll just call him robot from the original Alien. He just looked really fake. And that bothered me at first. But the second viewing, like when I watched it with my mother, I sat there and I was like, you know what? Maybe he's supposed to look fake because he is a robot and he has been cut in half and scarred up and everything. So I guess it works out. So that was my only thing that I didn't like. but it ended up not bothering me. So, you know,
I was very, and this is again for people that haven't tuned out because they're like, oh, we're going to brave the spoilers. If there's something you really don't want to know, please tune out now. The thing that really surprised me was seeing other aliens when the guy gets pulled up in. Like, I expect to see one alien on that ship with the cocoon because he hatched there with them. I did not expect to see a whole horde of them. I was like, oh my. Like, that actually sent, like, goosebumps down me. I was like, but they played around. This is probably the best film, Chase, where I've seen zero gravity used in a great way for a plot purpose.
yeah,
Like, I can't name another film that we talked about zero gravity. Obviously, we talked about Star Wars in episode 8 when they're dropping bombs from, like, oh, well, it's just going to pull down to the planet atmosphere. I was like, yeah, but they're not even in the planet's atmosphere. So, like, they're playing around with gravity and stuff like that. But this is one of the best sci-fi films that, like, they played around with the idea of being able to shut gravity on and off.
yeah, and it goes, yeah, yeah. I could agree to that. Yeah, I just think overall it was a great film. I know that they're remaking a bunch of movies, and everything's kind of a prequel or a sequel. It seems like nowadays, but I think this was a really good one, and I think the guy who made it is a big fan of Alien, and so I just it's nice to see people who are a fan of this stuff actually participating in filming it and making it. Um, I'd be the same way as a filmmaker. I would think if there was a series I really liked and I could make a movie and kind of help promote it more and whatnot, I think I would take that opportunity because you're such a big fan of Alien or Star Wars or whatever. And this movie, I don't think it beat down and made you not like want to watch any of the aliens. Because sometimes when I watch Star Wars, like the series, I'm just like I don't even want to watch Star Wars, and that sucks to say because I'm a huge Star Wars fan. But I don't think this movie did that, which is what I like. Um, and when Alien Covenant came out, I really liked that one. And I knew they were going to make another one, and I was like, what are they going to make? Like, is it going to be after Covenant? And I was trying to guess, but to kind of spawn off from the original is really cool. Kind of brings you that nostalgic feel, which I'm a huge fan of anything nostalgic from 80s, 90s. I think it's really cool to see that. So, I gave it an 8 out of 10. I really loved the movie, and I know, and keep this in mind, when it comes out on DVD at Walmart, there will be a steelbook collection of this. And I'm excited to see what that will look like.
The question is, are you waiting for the steelbook, or are you going to buy it when it comes out and then the steelbooks? Or are you going to have two of them?
I'll probably buy the steelbook.
And by that time too, and I don't know if this is true, like that they have these right now, because you can walk around Walmart, Target, you can find like the Fast and Furious, they have like all the DVDs together, they got Star Wars, all the DVDs together. I don't know if they have a Alien. I'm sure you could find it somewhere, but I don't know if they have an Alien collection. But I guarantee you, after this film, there will be an Alien collection. Whether it leaves out Prometheus or whatever, it might just be the the three main ones being one of these involved that we just saw. But color grading though, Chase, because you like the look of the 80s and 90s, the color grading in this film, I did like the grain. I did like the heavy grays, and I liked, now granted, as somebody that can suffer seizures with flashing lights, this was probably not the best film to go into as far as with that, but I made it through it. It is what it is. But I'll tell you, it was a cool experience to watch how they would light the scenes up. Because there was not just the trailer shot of they're looking down the hallway as the gas is leaking and the flashing lights and you got to walk down the tunnel. Like we saw that in the trailers, but there was a lot of moments where, since it's a ship under duress, the flashing lights are always going. And it really, how they lit the scene added to a lot of the plot.
Yeah, lighting means a lot. That's why I mean, like, so many elements that can make a movie perfect. It's really hard to check every single thing off. And the lighting did amazing in this film. They did really good. I was going to look at who was the cinematographer for the film, because I'm curious. Me being a nerd for a second, I can't pronounce his name. I probably could try, but I don't want to butcher it.
Well, let's just say it's not the first time he's ever worked on a Hollywood production. I'll tell you that because, my goodness, those things were spot on. And if it
They
was his
were,
first time, well, then congratulations, because you own the industry right now, bud.
you know, he hasn't done too much for cinematography. He did a lot of short films. A lot of short films.
Good.
Is this his first, like, legit? This might be his, like, first feature cinematographer role.
Well, then
Because other than that, everything's short film.
well, we got to give him a hats off then, because I'll tell you what, that was a fantastic job.
He did really good.
He just etched himself into another gig here in the future, because, we talk about this because we talk about Madam Web, and, the unfortunate thing about our industry, Chase, is sometimes you only get that one shot to direct a big film. And if it passes with success, or if it bombs, well, sometimes you never get another gig. And,
Yep.
but it's good to see that, like, if this is his first, well, congratulations, because it looks phenomenal.
It does. He did a really good job.
That means he'll be on
Yeah.
set of one of your productions here soon, right? You can afford him now? Or is he above the pay grade?
I don't know. The last two films I've made, I've had a pretty good DP, so I think I'm doing pretty good.
Can we at least bring him in for color? That would save half the issues.
Right. I saw you blushing there just a little bit. It's okay.
A little bit.
But I saw you.
Well, listen, I am happy to always be the DP. Actually, Tommy was really he had talked about Reluctant Blues. This is getting off topic of the actual film industry, but well, we are part of the film industry, but off topic from the mainstream film industry. Tommy had actually messaged me on Facebook and said that he watched Reluctant Blues like 5 times, and he said hats off to everybody involved.
That's what he told me. He texted me and he's like, "Oh my gosh!" And he's freaking out. He's a fan now. I think him coming to Montana and filming with us, he was so excited. I remember when we went to that one location, the Cedars, and he like ran away from us. He's like, I need a moment, and he's just like looking around, just so excited. And
as a producer, which my main thing was security on set of that film, Chase, that did not make me happy. But in hindsight, Tommy, I'm glad you had a great time walking around Montana where we couldn't see you.
Yes, hats to you, Tommy.
Well, Chase, I think we're going to hold a few other topics for another Movie Mayhem, but I think, like I said, the 3 films we talked about, Borderlands, Twisters, and Alien here, I think it's been a really good summer, late summer specifically for films. Obviously, Borderlands was not worth the watch. It probably not even worth the rent, as you would probably say. But if it's free on like TV and pops up, like sure, go watch it. But probably don't pay anything excessively for it. But I think we've had a really good summer. We'll have to do a quick summer recap maybe next week, Chase. Maybe we'll have to sit down and like watch all these, or make a list per se of all the films that came out this summer. Maybe even do like a rating system, because I think we've had a really good, successful year. Now, box office wise, it might not have been successful as what they wanted it. Some films that I actually like this year, that when we do the best of the best and worst of the worst, some of my best are going to be one of the top bombs of the year. Because right now, and I'll give the audience kind of heads up, because if you watch the film Argylle, I like the film Argylle, but Argylle with Henry Cavill and company has lost over $200 million.
That's rough.
It's rough. The problem
It's
is
rough, but I liked the movie. I thought it was funny.
Yeah, I actually appreciated it, but sometimes that's how it goes when it's not either A, marketed correctly, or B, an audience. And when I say audience, let me just put it this way, because I can almost tell you from the outside perspective what films I feel are going to do good compared to what films are going to do bad. When my girlfriend watching a trailer has no interest, she's kind of like the normie. She's kind of like she'll go to the movies if I go, but also like a basic general film that looks good trailer-wise, it piques her interest. And Argylle did pique her interest, so I'm kind of surprised about that, but I'm not surprised of certain other films, like The Fall Guy at first. Fall Guy was an amazing film. I don't know if you watched it with Ryan Gosling.
I haven't, no.
You should. I think you will appreciate it. But from her perspective, she was like, it doesn't interest me. But I dragged her along. She saw it. She ended up liking it.
Yeah,
but
that happened.
When you don't get the normies to kind of like back you, because the big fans go the first 2 weekends. What makes the film be successful in the end is weekend 3, 4, 5, 6, when the average moviegoers just want to go and watch and have fun.
I agree. Fallout at Walmart right now has a steelbook. I think I sent you a picture of it. It looks pretty cool. And it's extended version, so there's footage you haven't seen. Excuse me.
So does that mean you're going back to watch the? I saw Lord of the Rings is going back to theaters for a little bit.
The animated movie. Yes, and I am gonna go. Of course, I'm gonna go. Absolutely. It comes out a day before my birthday, so I'm absolutely gonna go. There's actually a lot of movies I'm excited for, but I do have two movies that I've seen recently in theaters that I'd love to bring up, and they're not brand new movies. They actually came out years ago. First one, we went to the 15th. I think it was the 15th anniversary of Coraline. Came out in 2009. My lady is a big Coraline fan, loves the movie. And when I first saw it in 2009, I did not care for it. But then I'm marrying this woman that loves it, and now I like it. And when I saw it in theaters, because I've seen it many times now, and so we went to the theaters because like, okay, it's one of our favorites. We have to see it in theaters. So we went, and it was so good in theaters, like really good, and it's still in theaters. So if you get a free day and it's in theaters, you should go see it because it's really good in the movies. Like big screen, light, like the colors, all that. It's a really cool experience, and it was fun to watch. I really am excited that I got to see it. So Coraline 15th anniversary, check it out, people. Donnie, whoever. Um, I feel like Shauna, your girlfriend, would like that movie.
She's a big Nightmare Before Christmas fan, so I would not be shocked.
She should go. You should take her as a date because she would love that, and it's really good in theaters. So,
Well,
saw that.
she's actually going to see Beetlejuice without me, by the way. So
Like the new one?
yeah, she had already made plans with one of her friends that like loves the horror and stuff like that. And she's like, I'm going to see Beetlejuice. Like, she gave me the date. And I'm just like, well, I thought you were dragging me along to see it. And she's like, well, I'm going with somebody that actually likes it. I was like, oh, okay.
She'll take you too. She'll go twice.
Honestly,
I know
this is going to sound like this is, again, don't be shocked when, I mean, I guess you could be shocked, but when I'm a filmmaker and I talk about things like, oh, I haven't really seen all the Godfathers, I haven't seen Schindler's List, you might as well add Beetlejuice because I do not remember, I mean, probably way back when it came out, maybe I saw it in passing, but I don't believe I've watched Beetlejuice, the first one. So I think part of her reason was she didn't want me to watch the first one because it was like a short amount of time, and then she just wanted to go and enjoy the second one. So
Happens. You should see The Godfather though. You really should. Remember that perfect movie thing I was talking about? Godfather fits right there. Like it is absolutely amazing. But so I saw Coraline. You should go see it if you can. If not, you should just watch it on your TV. It's so good. It's so fun to watch. And then I saw Rear Window, 70th anniversary Hitchcock film with James Stewart, and then great. Oh, what's her name? Grace Kelly. Grace Kelly. Yes, Grace Kelly. I'm gonna look it up. But I saw Rear Window, and I love old film, as you know. But to see Rear Window in theaters was really cool. Yes, Grace Kelly. I don't know if you've ever seen that. Have you ever seen that movie?
I have not, but is it going to be a Golden Review film, or is that past the Golden Review?
No, it's 1954. It came out 70 years ago.
We have a chance.
We're gonna do a Hitchcock series at some point. So yeah, it's really good. I really like it. But you have to understand what that movie is. It's a slow burn. So it isn't just this action-packed, huge, like horror, scary stuff. It's watching someone across the courtyard that's doing suspicious stuff, and it's really cool how it's filmed. And you stay in the same room for the entire film, and it's cool how it's just like how it's filmed. I love it. It's such a good movie, and to see it in theaters. Love watching these old classics in the movie theater. I've seen. I think this is my third or fourth one that I've seen. This is my third one because I saw Wizard of Oz, Gone with the Wind, and then this one. And seeing the old classics, like movies were meant to be seen in the movie theater. And I've noticed that when I go back to the movie theater to watch these movies again, I enjoy it more. Like Coraline, Rear Window, Gone with the Wind, like Wizard of Oz. Like they're huge colors, everything. It's awesome. So if you or anyone ever see these like movies coming back out, it's called, I think it's Fathom Events. Just look at what's coming up because it's really cool how they what comes back out and whatnot and what they have coming into theaters. So it's really cool. So I know it's like I know people that are like, why would you go to that movie? You have it at home. I'm like, yeah, but the experience seeing on the big screen is a whole different thing. I've found myself enjoying movies more because of it. So
Do you have anything else to talk about, just out of curiosity, or?
No, I was just gonna. Nothing important. I'm just talking now. So if
Alright.
you want to end, that's totally fine.
Yeah, we'll wrap it up, and then if you want to stay on Discord and talk at all, we can do that for a little bit. Well, Chase, as we wrap up this program, where can people find you at?
Instagram, at Chase Morgan Hewlett. Donnie and I also do a podcast called The Golden Review, which is also on Instagram. And then I am owner of True Light Pictures, which is on Instagram and Facebook. And then I have LinkedIn. Just type my name, and you'll find it somewhere.
He went all the way to the LinkedIn. Do you have a MySpace? No, but
I do have MySpace. I do. But that was like 40 years ago, so I don't even know now. So,
but we had talked about this Reluctant Blues. You can watch it on True Light Pictures YouTube. I do want to shout that out so people go watch it. It has won awards by Chase Morgan Hewlett.
and you won too.
Oh yes, but the director and I can't remember her name, but who plays Lady Lust, because when we were talking about award-winning women, she went all out because it was a cold day. It was a cold, breezy day. So, but we can talk about all that on another episode. We sit down and talk about filmmaking. But as for Movie Mayhem, this episode comes to a wrap. So guys, thank you for watching the Shield of Hope channel. Please subscribe on all of our platforms, and we will talk to you later.